Okay, so for this part, this video, we're going to be dealing with piecewise functions, evaluating them, graphing them, how to deal with piecewise functions. These look exactly kind of like they sound, piecewise functions. So they are basically like pieces. So let's go on Desmos and look at some examples. Okay, so piecewise functions, look something like, I don't know how to actually, let's see if I can figure out how to type in the interval. I'm not that great with using Desmos like I should. There is a way you can do it though. I just don't know how. How do you do it? Okay. Let's actually just look at an example then on good old Google. All right, so piecewise functions look like this. So you can see that they're not all connected, right? They have different intervals. So you can see here, x is less than like 1. Here, x is greater than 1, and it goes to 4, and so on. So I'm looking at the domain. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, domain or for a domain, you're going to hear domain and range a lot, but it's going to come up in when we get to the functions unit. Domain is the x values. So here, this is the domain. What can the x values be for the function? That's domain. And range is the y values. What y values would you get? And you always want to go from, lowest to highest. All right, so it's saying, what's f of negative 18? So let's see. Well, x is negative 18 here, so I can only use this function. I can't use this one because here x is 36. Here, x cannot equal either of these. It could be anything but those two. So you cannot use those two. You have to use the first one. So if you did negative 18 minus 6 over 3, that would get you. All right, so I had to pause the video for a moment. Okay, negative 18 minus 6. You can use your calculator here on Khan Academy. You get negative 24 over 3. You can even, use a calculator for that too if you need to, but you should get negative 8. So when f is negative 18, the y value for this piecewise function is negative 8. So you're just plugging in the x value where you should, and you're finding what the y value is. So for this one, g of 7. So which one can I plug in as 7? Can't plug it in for those ones. So this means the x values for this could be negative infinity to negative 7. So it stops at negative 7. This one goes from negative 7 to 2. So this one is the one where 7 can be included. If I plugged in a 7, I would get 7 plus 1 is 8. 8 times 7 minus 5, which is 2. So 8 times 2 would get me 16. You get something wrong, Khan Academy will show you how to do it. So that's finding the y values. All right, let's evaluate these piecewise functions. So it says match each expression with its value. Okay, so this one here, so h of 3.99999. Okay, so where is x 3.99999? X is 3.99999 over here, and you can see that, it would be right there or so. Let me change the color. Be about right there, which would get us, 7. So this one will be 7. When h is 4, okay, so this is the negative 2, right? But it's an open circle, which means it cannot be included, just like when you learn inequalities. Open circle, not included. So that one, therefore, would be undefined because for both of them, they have an open circle. So undefined for that one. That one's 7. When x is 4.11.0001, which is slightly to the right of this, y is negative 2. And when x is 9, once again, undefined because it's an open circle. So that's kind of, that's pretty much how you would read these. All right, let's actually go to the important part of this unit, which is graphing piecewise functions. So Here, when I graph this, I can only graph in between this range from -3 to 1. So -3 to 1, you can see closed circle, closed circle. So you should have a closed circle there, which both of these do. This one goes from 1 to 7, but there should be an open to closed circle. So you can see both of these also have an open to closed circle. All right, so then this is graphed as y equals 2, which is a horizontal line, and this is graphed as y equals -1. And so the only one that fits that is this one here. So graphing them on Khan Academy is a bit easier in my opinion, which is why I would recommend you would do them on an actual worksheet. Let me find my worksheet. All right. So yeah, I would actually learn to graph them because a lot of times, teachers will tell you, hey, sketch a graph of this piecewise function. And you can do that. So you can see here, I can graph this line. Y is -2x minus 1, which means it has a y-intercept at -1. Let me change the color. It has a slope of down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. X is less than or equal to 2. Okay, well, that's a closed circle. X is less than or equal to 2. All right, when X is greater than 2, open circle. This would have had a y-intercept of 4, but you can see that part's cut off because it doesn't fit the domain. But you can see the slope is still down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. So graph the line. I always tell my students, graph the line, then deal with the domain. So, if you were to graph this line, you can keep going. It would look like this. If you were to graph this line, it would look like this. But since the domain says x is less than or equal to 2, for the first one, you cannot go past x is greater than 2, or sorry, less than or equal to 2. You can't go past the 2. And then for the other one, the domain is important as well. The x must be greater than 2, meaning it must be over here. So just practice graphing these. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.